Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks MLB update. How's everyone doing today? We welcome everybody watching on the McGrath Podcast Network, all those watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you might catch us either live or later on. Hearing myself again. Live or later on. Also want to thank the groups that allow us to share later on. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of them, but I want to thank specifically John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings from America's Pastime, Love for Baseball, Flo and Can at Bottom Line Sports, Let's Talk Sports, where Flo and Can do their main podcasting, Ken Krause at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts, and, of course, a quick shout-out to Ralph Williams over at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland, specifically the Sports Corner from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday with Smoking Jim Frazier. Happy to have been a guest on there many, many times, and I'm sure we will be again before you know it. We got some stuff to talk about today. The WBC, lots going on. Canada and USA tonight. We'll talk about, some comings and goings on this team, what I think about that, by the way, what I think about the major gaffe that Mark DeRosa made the other night. What's next for the WBC? A win. We'll look at the brackets a bit. There's just 3 games left, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, obviously. We'll talk about who's going to pitch, how we got here. We'll talk about Judge record, not record, but huge purchase of a Judge rookie card, $5.2 million, guys. Hard to believe. Spring is just training. We'll take a look at some of the, a little bit of the records, a little bit. We're going to dive too much into it. The records in spring training to me are not terribly noteworthy, but we'll take a look at maybe some of the more impressive ones or the ones that are maybe a little concerning. Yankees with some news too. Looks like Jason Dominguez, who's had a really good spring, is going to get sent down. Spencer Jones had a hot spring, but he's going to get sent down. It looks like Randall Grichuk will be that extra outfielder. And Jason, 2 guys with great potential going to the minors for the Yankees, but we'll talk about more of that. A little bit about the baseball TV packages, if you will, and but the WBC is where we start. And I don't know where to start sometimes. Mark DeRosa went on, this is what, Wednesday? I guess it was Wednesday, before they played Italy. Maybe it was Tuesday. I lose track of the days. But he pretty much gave the impression they felt, they were set. They were moving on out of pool play and into the quarterfinals, the knockout round. The Italy game didn't really matter. He says he missed. To me, the cover-up is always worse than the blunder, right? Major League Baseball, MLB Network, who Mark DeRosa works for, by the way, took down the video of this interview during the day and evening of this game. And I'm still convinced. He talked about how the players partied a little bit. He didn't say partied. He didn't say they were some guys were dragging from the night before, that they'd spent time in the locker room, rejoicing in their victory over Mexico. And, which is all well and good. But he says he made a mistake. He always knew that they could get eliminated if they didn't win this game because of the very odd, to me, tiebreaker rules and as far as runs go and whatnot. Everything pointed to the fact, to me, and I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but to me, the facts point to the fact that he did not know the lineup that he rolled out there that night. And you can tell me all you want about how the guys played that were in the lineup. To me, that's irrelevant. What is relevant is that he benched 4 of his best players. Now, I get it. Harper wasn't setting the world on fire. Bregman maybe wasn't setting the world on fire. But you're not telling me that's the best team he could have rolled out there that night. That's number one. Number two, they're falling behind 8-0. He leaves Nolan McLean in there. He gave up 3 runs in 3 innings. It's spring training for these guys. Okay, but he brings in Ryan Yarborough. I mean, you got other guys to try to stem the tide, by the way, that are better than that. But more telling is as he falls behind 8-0, and they start to crawl back, as they're trying to get themselves back in this game, Italy loads the bases again later on in this game, and he's got Clayton Kershaw, who's going to be dropped after tonight's game, by the way. He's got Clayton Kershaw warming up when he's got Mason Miller. He's got Griffin Jacks available. He's got who else did he have available that night? He had everybody he could have possibly wanted. Mason Miller, I think I said Mason Miller. Bednar. You got all kinds of options. Well, Bednar might not have been available at that point. But you're trying to get back in a game that you trailed 8-0. You fought back to get within a few runs, and bases are loaded. And you're going to bring in Clayton Kershaw, who's a retired major league pitcher, who's really there just for the ride. He didn't know, and then he sits him down. I'm confident that Mark DeRosa did not know, even during that game, until that point maybe, that this game meant something. And they get by. Look, maybe we'll forget all about this. I have more respect for guys who come clean. Look, just say, I blew it. I forgot about the run thing. It turned out okay because Italy really demolished Mexico the next night with 3 home runs from Vinny. How do you say Vinny's last name? Pasquantino. I mean, but if this game was 4-3, say Mexico even, Italy and Mexico would have gone. That's why I don't like these tiebreaker rules, by the way, because it does leave open the possibility for somebody to do something nefarious, if you will. But they survive. I won't beat it to death, except Mark DeRosa, you should have come clean. I'd have more respect for you admitting you made a mistake than trying to cover it up the way that you have in my mind. I'm sorry. And I've spoken very highly of Mark DeRosa and the job that he did 4 years ago in the WBC. I was in favor of him getting hired by the Atlanta Braves. But what do we see? My eyes tell me all I need to see, right? I mean, again, not the brightest guy in the room, but it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So anyway, they move on. They're going to play Canada tonight. Logan Webb gets the ball tonight. We'll be able to go a little bit deeper. The pitching restrictions are raised, if you will, for him. I believe Paul Skeens will pitch the semifinal, should there be one. And I'd heard Nolan McLean had left the team to go back to the Mets, which another thing I want to get into here in a second. But now, and they brought Joe Ryan. They're going to bring Joe Ryan in tomorrow from the Twins, and he may pitch Game 7. Nolan McLean has been mentioned as pitching Game 7 and had been from the outset. But I've heard that he's left. I don't know if that's changed or has not changed. Let me just take a quick look. But there are some other moves, so we'll talk about it. Here's the thing, too. Set a roster. If you're playing in this type of tournament, it's 2 weeks. Set a roster, and that's your roster. I mean, you're sending Clayton Kershaw home. I mean, he might stick around. But why is he on this roster to begin with? Why isn't Joe Ryan on this roster from the beginning? Why is Skubal able to come, pitch, and then leave? I mean, if you don't want to stay and be with your team, if you want to go back to spring training because it's important to you to get ready for an important season for him because he's got a big payday, coming. I get it. I respect that. But why are you coming and then not all in? It's frustrating, man. Come on. You're all in or you're not. Hello, Danny. How are you? Good to have you with us. So, to me, these teams, all of the teams, it's not just the U.S., and I'm sure this has happened elsewhere. I think you should put a team together and a roster together, and that's your roster. That's have guys coming and going. I mean, you want to make Clayton Kershaw kind of give him a going away present for his retirement. Fine. But you shouldn't replace him midway through. Skubal shouldn't be going home. If, in fact, Nolan McLean has gone home, he shouldn't be going home. You shouldn't be able to bring in 2 new relievers to pitch in the quarterfinals, plus bring in Joe Ryan, who didn't make this team originally. I like Ryan. Ryan probably should have been on this team, quite frankly. I don't know why he isn't. So, to me, look, it's been fun. It's been a fun competition. The best team so far, I think, has been the Dominicans. I mean, really, they've really played lights out. Offensively, I think they lead in any category you can think of. They've had the best result. So we've got quarterfinals today. What do we have today? Today we have the Dominican Republic against Korea at 6:30 Eastern time on FS2. That game will be played in Miami. Korea's going to get killed here. Korea gave Japan a little bit of a, tussle their first game. They managed to win against the Aussies and Czechia. They're going to get rolled tonight, I would say. And then you got U.S. and Canada, which would be a fun matchup, just 18 or 19 days after the U.S. beat the Canadians in hockey for the gold medal in Italy. And then tomorrow, 3 p.m., you've got Italy against Puerto Rico, who's been very strong as well. And Japan against Venezuela. I mean, there's some pretty strong teams left here. Obviously, Italy is probably the biggest surprise of the entire tournament. Led by Vinny Pesquitino, as I said, managed by Francisco Cervelli, former Yankee catcher. We've got some interesting matchups. Ernie Witt against the aforementioned Mark DeRosa tonight. The Canadians led by the Naylor brothers, O'Neill, and a couple other major leaguers and some guys that have been, all of these guys have had most of these guys that we've seen in this tournament, or I shouldn't say that. When you get into the Latin American countries, the U.S., so I guess the North and South American teams, right? There's a lot of major leaguers or minor leaguers or fringe major leaguers, guys who have been in the major leagues. There's some scattered throughout Italy and Netherlands and wherever else. So these are really good players. But Italy, to me, is the biggest surprise here. I mean, they finish 4-0 in pool play, right? Am I right about that? They finished 4-0, didn't they? Let me check this out here. Pretty sure they finished 4-0. Again, thank you, Mark DeRosa, for that 4-0, by the way. Italy did finish 4-0. Them, Japan, and Dominican are the only teams that are undefeated or were undefeated in pool play. Korea was 2-2, and they advanced over Australia and Chinese Taipei due to tiebreakers. Venezuela was 3-1 that when they had been advanced along with Dominican in Pool D. And the U.S. was 3-1 and avoided that run issue Something even weirder would have happened in extra innings if they'd gone that far. So, and Puerto Rico and Canada both finished 3-1. Canada's a bit of a surprise too. I mean, Cuba doesn't go. The Canadians beat Cuba with their backs to the wall. They beat, I think, both. I want to say they beat. Who did they beat? Panama and. Hang on 1 second. Let me go back here. Well, I know they beat Cuba with their backs to the wall. That was the big win for them. So it's been very interesting. It's been listen. It's been great baseball. We've had some drama and some soap opera stuff with the Marco DeRosa stuff. We had some other soap opera stuff with, and I'm curious about this. I didn't bring it up this morning with Jack, and I meant to. The Cal Raleigh and Randy Rosarina issue. When the two teammates, Matt and again, the two Seattle teammates, played against each other, and Rosarina came to bat. He went to shake Raleigh's hand, and Raleigh said, "How you doing?" and wouldn't take his hand. I don't think it's a big deal. Rosarina made a huge deal about it. You're competing now. There's too much fraternization on the ball field as it is. I get it. Your teammates. Do I think this is going to be a problem to get back to Seattle? No. I think Rosarina made way too much out of this. And I think Cal Raleigh handled it well. He didn't, he didn't take his hand, but he said hello. What do these guys want? It's been very interesting. Hello, AC. Good to have you with us. Danny, as I said, good to have you with us. Roman Anthony having a pretty good, I believe he's been having a pretty good, let's see if I can sort this by player. I can't. He's had a pretty good spring as well. So I don't know about leading the Red Sox to the World Series, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe they should sign Vinny Pasquantino. I don't know if he's with a team now or not, quite frankly. He was with the Royals last I knew. He's with somebody because he's got 15 at-bats in spring training. Who's he with? I guess he's still with the Royals. Okay. A decent ball player, by the way. Listen, the Italians were the biggest surprise and done very well. Jorge Posada was over there being the bench coach for Cervelli in Italy. Albert Pujols has done really well managing the Dominican Republic to an undefeated record. Winning this, or maybe even the showing so far, has certainly helped him in his search for a major league manager's job. Yadier Molina has done very, very well with Puerto Rico. A lot of empty seats in Puerto Rico, though. I was a little surprised at that. Who else has been managing here? We know DeRosa. Ernie Witt, I don't think is going to manage again in the major leagues, but has done a good job with Canada, obviously. And this has been a fun event. I mean, you look at home runs. Duran, who he didn't mention, AC. That is your Red Sox player too, correct? Yeah. He's had 3 home runs, 5 ribbies. Pasquantino, 3 home runs. Araza, another guy name I can never say. Where's Drew to bust my ass? Camarino's had a really good run here for the Dominican. They've been just eating it up. Onel Cruz has played well. So, Jesus, this Dominican team is loaded. I know Danny mentioned that he thinks they might be the favorite here. Vlad Jr., you just go right down this lineup. It's really, really good. Judge has done well for the U.S. Schwarber's done well for the U.S. I think Pete Crow Armstrong's played well. Another guy on the bench against Italy. Again, did you know, Mark? Just come clean. I mean, who are the best teams left here? I think it's Dominican is first. You know, the play they mash the ball. They certainly know how to celebrate as well. I mean, that can take or leave, you know, the bat flips and whatnot. But listen, I keep hearing it's a culture thing, and if I'm not going to allow it here, where am I going to allow it? So good for them. But Camarino, Cruz, Guerrero, Soto, Tatis Jr. Where's the holes in this lineup? So this team has been really, really, really good. And I would think they're still not the favorite. I mean, the U.S. is still +1, depending on where you look, +140. The Dominican is +230. U.S. still strong. I mean, they're going to throw Webb and Skeens these next 2 games, and then we'll see what happens in the championship game. Right now, my money would be on Joe Ryan to get the ball in that game. But the U.S. has played well. There's still this article I'm looking at here is still referring to Nolan McLean as the starter for Game 7. We'll see. If that's the case, I mean, you will have Joe Ryan to back him up out of the bullpen really quickly. But you don't know how they're going to, tax this bullpen the next few nights either. They did bring in reinforcements, as I said. Japan, who's fallen to +450, surprisingly enough. They were 4-0. But they struggled other than a blowout of Chinese Taipei, Taiwan. They had a rally late to beat Korea, 8-6. The Brits gave them a game for a while. And they were held scoreless by Czechia's amateur pitching staff for 6 innings. I'm sorry, 8 innings. Otani's been hot, but, he's pretty much carried this team. So now it's going to be up to Yamamoto and Kikuchi all to step up and help as well. Don't count this team out, though. It's still a really good team. And we'll see. You're not going to have, I think, where you run into pool play where these lesser teams, and this is where Italy surprised me a little bit. Some of the lesser teams, Czechia, Australia, Chinese Taipei, even Korea, who's here now. Australia, maybe I said that. I said them, didn't I? I think where the big difference is when you get into the deeper you go into the bullpen, obviously the better chance they're going to have. So they played really well. Venezuela, who, by the way, is not a bad team either, +900. I guess if you want really some good value, you can take them because Italy's not going to win this. They're 18-1, but so +1,800. They're going to, I think Puerto Rico takes Italy out this next round. But this is still a good team as well. Venezuela, we're throwing Acuna and Churio and Torres, and you got Eugenie Suarez and Ranger Suarez on the mound in one of these games. I think he'll go against Yamamoto tomorrow, actually. Or is that tonight? That's tomorrow. Good team. And Italy, ESPN here has them ranked above Puerto Rico. I don't think I'm going that far, quite frankly. I like what they've done here, obviously, but I don't think they're better than Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico, think how good Puerto Rico could have been. Lindor's not there. Correa's not there. Baez isn't there. Enrique Hernandez is not there. This team could be better even than they are now. Don't think they win. And I would say Canada and Korea bring up the rear here. AC doesn't really have a great feeling about the U.S. chances. We've seen this time and time again. An ultra-talented team not living up to the talent at times. I don't disagree. They've got one, I don't know how many times we held this event. I want to say 5 times. They've won 1. They lost to Japan the last time out with Otani striking out Mike Trout to end it. It's a talented team. These guys want to win, though. And right now, I mean, again, their managers held them back. look, they advanced, so I'm not willing to say Mark DeRosa, should be sent home immediately. But it's a very talented team, and there's a lot of great pitching on this team as well. That's why I don't know why Ryan Yarbrough is in that game at 3-0. I mean, I'm going to Griffin Jacks, or I'm going to Whitlock, your guy, Scott. I thought that was AC. Sorry. I mean, I'm going to Whitlock, or again, you can call it second guessing, but 3-0, you're not out of that game. But Yarbrough just throws gas on the fire the other night. Yeah, I said that at the top too. Mark DeRosa was a hot name for the Braves job, which I thought he was going to get that job at some point. But look, this has been a bad look for him because of one game. And if he didn't know what the rule was, then just come out and say it. He'd have a better shot at getting a manager job, because if not, if you knew you had to win this Italy game to secure your own advancement, and that you weren't automatically moving on no matter what the outcome was, you would not have rolled the lineup out there that you did. And you would not have made the pitching moves that you made during this game. So, I mean, look, it's been fun so far. I've enjoyed it. Again, Italy, a big surprise. We'll find out whether the U.S. can get this done, and I think they can, Scott. I understand your hesitation, but I think they can get this done. The pitching and the bullpen should be rested. We got Miller and Bednar and Jacks to come out of that bullpen, and other guys as well if you have to, go deeper into that bullpen. It would be best. Again, the pitching restrictions really tax the bullpen. So it's going to be very difficult probably to get to the final with a well-rested Bednar, Miller, and Jacks. But you've got other guys. They did send Michael Wacha home, Kershaw, and one other guy whose name is escaping me. They brought in some reinforcements for that bullpen. Not names that really excited me. But you got to be all in for these events. And if you're not, then don't go. Skubal should be there. Skubal should be pitching one of these 3 games. He should be pitching the semifinal, and you could have Skeens going in the final. If you're not all in, then stay home. I'll bring Joe Ryan from the very beginning. He's a really good pitcher. So I think it's been fun, though. What's not to like? Change some of the rules. I mean, this run rule is kind of screwy because, again, as I said, if Mexico and Italy were inclined to do so, and nobody should be inclined to, manipulate the outcome of games. But if Mexico had won 4-3, the U.S. is gone. They're home. Mexico and Italy move on. So I don't know. What else is going on in the world of baseball? I mentioned at the top, it looks like Jason Dominguez for the Yankees, who's had a really good spring. But the Yankees seem to have lost a lot of faith in Dominguez, both from the right-hand side of the plate where they need him, or might have needed him, and defensively. And after a good spring, but not as good as, say, Spencer Jones, who also got sent out already last week, he's going to get sent to the minors, it would appear. And recent acquisition, Randall Grichuk, will be the 4th outfielder for the Yankees. Now, the upside is Dominguez can play every day at AAA, and I don't like to give up on guys early, but it's starting to look like Dominguez is a quadruple A player. Too good for AAA, not good enough for MLB. Keep an eye on him when the Yankees start making moves at the trade deadline. And they'll need him at some point, probably in the major leagues. I'm not crazy about Grisham playing every day. Bellinger could have some injury issues. Judge has had injury issues. I mean, at some point, we're going to see him get called up. Well, we also know Stanton's history as well. But it's interesting how fast things can change. I mean, last year he was still the Martian. Sometimes you get too much hype too soon, man. It's hard to live up to that. That's unfortunate for him. Not a lot of other spring news. I mean, some of the teams are playing. Here's and again, I don't put a lot of stock in spring training records, right? But the Giants are 15-3. That one is, I think, an important one because of Vitello and some of the concerns about how he would fare. And again, this is only exhibition game, so it doesn't say anything. But I thought it was important for them to have a good spring training, and they've had that so far. Dodgers 13-6 don't matter. Maybe the White Sox being at 11-9 helps them a little bit, but the Rockies are 10-8. You think they're going to not lose 100 games? We can bet if you want right now. The Mariners are 5-14. They're also playing without Kyle Raleigh. By the way, they got some good pitchers that could have been on this USA team as well. But the Mariners are 5-14. Does anybody think the Mariners aren't one of the favorites to win the American League pennant? Who else? The Nationals 11-4. Again, when you're a bad team and establishing some winning, establishing some momentum, if you will, Danny, in spring training, maybe it matters. Maybe it makes some sense. The Braves were trying to bounce back from a horrible year last year. But the Yankees and the Pirates is another team that would fit that bill as well. But the Yankees, the Mets, does it really matter what their record is? Do I think the Tigers are in trouble because they're 4-10? No. But those are some of the good and the bad record-wise, if you will. I did want to look at, is there any other big news in spring training? What do you got there, Scott? Whoa. What happened? Hold on. Timeout. Almost lost it. I think the West will be won by Texas. I'm not that high in the Mariners for some reason. I think the Mariners struggle a bit. Probably next week. What's that? The 20th? Can I wait a week? I think I might do it on the 27th, actually, do the MLB update preview show. I don't like to do it this early. There's still too many question marks. I like Texas, but I think the Mariners will win. I'm not sure why you're not high in the Mariners. I mean, everybody's back except Polanco. Basically, that pitching staff is back intact, and I'm going to tell you, I know I had to shut up during the championship series that were played last week. I said the Seattle was as good or better than the Dodgers. They were not. But I still will put that pitching staff up against anybody in the American League. So I'm not sure why you think they'll struggle, but I get it. I mean, scoring runs has always been a challenge for them. I guess they lost Suarez as well, now that I think about it. But I like this team, and I like where they're coming from. What else has been going on? Priester for the Brewers are going to miss at least the first month. The Yankees, that's a big story for the Yankees too, by the way. We've got Cole, who's really looked good in spring training so far, healthy, throwing hard. All systems look to be a go for May, maybe a little bit sooner. Rondon, who I'm not crazy about, will also miss most of April. As far as I know, Volpe still will miss the start of the season. So some big names going to be missing here. The Red Sox did sign, I can't say the guy's name, Columbi, to a 1-year deal to help that bullpen. We also know that Stevenson for the Reds is going to be out for the year with arm issues. Big blow to them, by the way. I need to see J-Rod do it, and I think Rowley hits 35, 38 home runs. Listen, he could hit 30. That'd still be a really good year, right? We're going to think he didn't have a good year because he hits 30. I know you're not saying that, Scott. But they won, that division with J-Rod kind of having an off season last year. If he picks it up a bit, and I would expect him to pick it up a bit. You're going to have Naylor for the whole year. I think the re-signing him was huge. I would like to see the Yankees get him, quite frankly. I know the Mets were interested as well. But they signed him really early in free agency. That's a big, big move for them. I think Crawford I think that infield is very competent. I just like the team. I just something about Seattle smells right to me. Just like right now today, as we sit here on the 13th of March, something's not smelling good to me about the Yankees, quite frankly. And I'll show you. I got to show you this too. Where is this? I'm not going to be able to find it, I don't think. This is... the last week's defense of Trent Grisham just loafing on a ball in center field by Aaron Boone. I wish I had the video. I played it on Monday for Jack. I wish I had the video because they showed him loafing after a ball and a guy getting to second base as he booted it and did this, that, and the other thing. And Aaron Boone explaining it away. Everything that's wrong with Aaron Boone is in this video. It's a bad, bad look. I wish I could find the damn thing. I really wanted to share this video. Yeah, see, it's too long now, and maybe this is it. Maybe I can find it right here. God, I hope this is. There's no video. There's no video with this one. It's terrible. Is all I can tell you. Terrible. That's a good one. I like that one, Scott. If he stays healthy, there's no better bet in my mind. I don't know what kind of number you got for it. I'd love to know. Hunter Green's a guy I was thinking of. Sorry, I didn't mean Stevenson. Hunter Green is out until July at a minimum. That's I believe that's a guy I was trying to talk about. Had my 66-year-old brain kicked in again. You think if the Yankees get through the first month around 500, they'll be fine? I hope so. Listen, I'm not high on Rondon anyway. I like the staff. The staff is really good. Right now, they still count on Rondon in my mind. I think to pick up a Weathers, if you want a player that's going to step up for the Yankees and break out, I would look at Ryan Weathers. I like him a lot. I think that's a really underrated addition that they made here early, just before spring training, I believe. But he's a guy that I would look to jump out this year for the Yankees. Another guy in the East, I think Cody Ponce for the Blue Jays is another guy to watch out. He's got kind of that quadruple A label as well, and I think he might be a guy that breaks out. I'm not sure about your team, though, Scott and AC. I'm not sure who I like to break out there. Yeah, I did it again. I know. Aaron Boone's never going to come with me. I wish I had the video. I played the video, and he'll never come on my show. I mean, this video is just so damning. Here's one that says he was critical of him. He was not critical of him at all. God, I wish I could find it. Just a bad look. I even got Jack to admit it was a bad look for Aaron Boone. Ridiculous. 12-1 on Cole. That's nice. Let me check that out. Well, I don't know what he is now. We'll have to see what he is now, but that's a good one. And also we don't have any, because of the WBC, we have a saving grace from the WBC, as well as the fact that we won't have to start Major League Baseball in a foreign country, America's pastime in a foreign country. We will have Netflix securing the beginning of the Major League Baseball season for the first time. But the Reds are not part of it, of course. Why can't we go back to the Cincinnati Reds having opening day to themselves? We did it for decades. Why can't we have some kind of tradition last in Major League Baseball? Netflix also will have a weekly Sunday morning game, by the way. I think 11 a.m. that game might start. Don't know what that schedule looks like yet, but we'll talk more about that. And NBC has taken over the Sunday night baseball mantle from ESPN, who's really stepped back from Major League Baseball, at least, from that perspective. So that'll be interesting to see as well. And the Judge card, 5 point. Who's speculating? Because Aaron Judge, listen, Aaron Judge is a great player, right? Nobody's going to say anything bad about Aaron Judge on my show. But to buy Aaron Judge rookie card for $5.2 million is really kind of speculating. Honus Wagner card just went 2 weeks ago for $5.2 million, but this card's been kicking around. There's only like 5 of them in existence. And Honus Wagner's card has been selling for over $1 million for a long time. But only one of them sold for 5.2. So what happens, and God forbid, Aaron Judge's career ends this year? How's this guy going to recoup his $5.2 million? And is that what collectors collect for? Are they speculating? Is it an investment like the stock market? 5.2 million is a pretty hefty speculation. If you're going out and buying up all these rookie cards for, whatever, 100,000, well, then I guess they get it if you got that kind of money to spread around. Hello, Rick. Rick had messaged me earlier that his father-in-law had done some collecting. And had bought up a bunch of Brian Taylor cards back in the day, the 90s, that would have been. Brian Taylor, B-R-I-E-N, Brian Taylor. If you remember, a big phenom for the Yankees in the offseason, got mixed up in a brawl, a barroom brawl, and hurt his shoulder. And it's a cautionary tale, man, because his career was, we don't know what would have happened if he'd stayed healthy, but his career pretty much went up in smoke that night. And anybody who invested like we we're talking about here would have failed. I'm just curious whether these guys really, I'm guessing for some people it's an investment, and just like a stock portfolio, you're going out and investing. I mean, you could buy up. I mean, when Aaron Judge was a rookie coming up for the Yankees, especially a late bloomer like him, I'm guessing you could have bought his rookie cards at that time. You could have probably gobbled them up all over the internet for not that much money. That would have been the time to be buying his rookie card, not now for 5.2. Unless I guess some people probably just want it for the fact that they have it. But me, I wish I had the cards that I had when I was a kid, man. I mean, I had reams and reams and reams of cards. I couldn't even tell you what I had. I mean, I did at one time, catalog them. I don't remember ever having a great card, though. I don't. Again, in retrospect, I might have and not recognize the name at the time when I'm 12 years old. Every Sunday, my dad would pick us up and we'd go to Trash Cigar Store, which, Rick, you may or may not remember, on Market Street, Church Street, however you want to look at it, in Amsterdam. get the sporting news, and get 4 or 5 packs of cards every Sunday. Wish I had them all. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to spend $5.2 million, right? Or even on a Honus Wagner card. Because how much is that going to appreciate in value? I mean, I get it. People buy art because they want to have the art on their wall, and art tends to appreciate, right? But I mean, ball players, baseball cards are going to tend to either appreciate or depreciate depending on performance, much like a stock, any stock you might buy. So be interesting to see how that goes. Scott's dad used to buy a box of baseball cards every month when I was a kid. Every week we'd get, I don't know, Rick, you'd be the only guy that remembers. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Trash Cigar Store was just, for me as a kid, Baseball Digest, it was a plethora of magazines, right? Every magazine that was ever put out, put to print, was there. But I'm looking at the sporting news, the Baseball Digest were the 2 things that I bought, along with baseball cards, pretty much every Sunday or once a month in the case of, I think the sporting news was weekly, and I think the Baseball Digest was monthly, if I remember right. I found a treasure trove in a garage sale, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, in Northville, New York. Somebody had, I swear to God, a box of Baseball Digest going back from probably early 60s, right through the late 80s. Hundreds and hundreds of them. Bought the entire box for like $10. And I went home and I reread all those things. I should have kept them. Scott had 4 wine boxes of baseball cards from the 70s when I moved. It got lost. Doesn't that suck, man? But at the time, nobody's keeping baseball cards. When I'm, 12 years old in 1972, nobody's telling me, hey, keep that. Who was great in 1972? Who was a rookie? I don't know. Thurman was like 1970, whatever. Say I had a Thurman Munson rookie card, right? Nobody's telling me in 1970 or 72 to keep that card because it's going to be worth money someday. $5 million. Rick remembers Jurassic comics too. Yeah, we bought comics there. You still have them? I love the Batman. I was a DC guy. It's funny. I shouldn't say that. I was a DC and a Marvel guy, I guess. Because I buy Captain America, Batman. Green Arrow, one of my favorites. Trask was the place to go, man. Wooden wine boxes. I remember, yeah. That's a lot of cards. 4 of those cards. Mint condition in plastic. Oh, Scott, my friend. 4 Vita Blue Ricky cards. There was a time you would have thought they'd probably be worth a lot. I don't know that a Vita Blue card ended up being worth a lot. He had a good major league career, but not like it looked like it was going to go after, say, 1971. But still could have been worth something for sure. Spidey was another one. My uncle, my brother's mother, my uncle had tons of Spider-Man comics. I swear to God, he had Spider-Man back to the day Stan Lee started doing Spider-Man. That and Archie's. He had the Archie comics too. But I was a superhero kind of guy. I don't know how we got on that topic. What else is going on here? So we looked at the WBC. We talked a little bit, not a lot of spring training news, but Carlos Beltran's going to have his Met number retired, and hopefully that'll be the thing the team remembers him for, and that the 2 days he spent as manager before he got let go because of the ridiculous sign stealing scandal in Houston, or having his bat on his shoulder in Game 7 of the NLCS against the Cardinals. Great player. I really am not trying to begrudge Carlos Beltran. Great player. Scooble has kind of reached out at his WBC detractors about him not being patriotic. Just don't go. If you commit to it, then stay for 2 weeks, dude. It's 2 weeks. You can do everything you're going to do in spring training with the team. Virtually everything. You're definitely going to pitch. So, other injury news, Josh Hader will miss opening day. He'll start the season on the IL as well. He's the Astros closer, so we'll see how that works out. The Yankees have been overtaken as a top team in the last 25 years by the Dodgers. And this was done by some kind of scoring system. 9 points for winning in a World Series, 6 for losing. You get points for being in a championship series. You get points for being in a division series and points for being in a wild card. Last, no shock here, the Pirates. Surprisingly, the Rockies only finished 27th. The Orioles and the Reds are worse than them over the last 25 years. The Orioles have really only gotten good again in the last 5, right? 4 or 5. The Reds, I mean, this is historically a really strong franchise. The last 25 years, they ranked 28th. The Mariners, who have gotten good, ranked 26th. The Royals, kind of the blueprint for an expansion team in the 70s, 24th. Padres, who you'd think would have had more success, 23. Mets only 20. Blue Jays 19. A's 17th. A's had a lot of really, really good years where they couldn't get out of, into the World Series, but they were managed. You remember Moneyball? They had some really good teams, and even after Billy Beane, they had some really good teams with lesser payrolls. The Rays at 16. The Tigers a little surprising for me at 15. Diamondbacks at 13. Rangers at 11. They do have a World Series win. Guardians without a World Series win are in there. Or no, Guardians don't have a World Series win in the last 20 years, right? I can look right here. They have 3 World Series losses, though, so they get points for that. Cubs at 9, a little surprising. The top 5, the Astros, the Red Sox, the Cardinals, the Yankees, and the Dodgers. Good stuff. Hello, Chris F. Grave. Good to have you with us. Belated happy birthday again to you. It is still live. Houston going on and on about the left-hand pitcher, yet somehow Jason Hayward is still at home. I'm sorry, left-handed outfielder. My bad. Yet somehow Jason Hayward is still at home. The words of Seinfeld's George Steinbrenner, hire this man. I'm not sure Jason Hayward's got a whole lot left, quite frankly. I mean, he didn't play that great with the Dodgers the last few years, and I don't know if he finished the year last year or not. Scott feels that Scooble leaving Team USA proves he's not a team guy. I don't know enough about the guy, quite frankly. I know he's a great pitcher. That's all I know. And I do know my own personal feeling is if you're going to commit to something, you're in 100%. He's not. A lot of these guys are. Again, the guys that are there playing hard, Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, Schwarber, Bregman's played well. Gunnar Henderson's played well when he's got a chance. These guys want to win. But if you're there to pitch one game, what'd you go for? To pitch one game in pool play? I guess you've been better off staying home like Joe Ryan, waiting for a phone call. Please come and pitch the final. Red Sox are 4th on this list. I mean, you got a couple World Series in there, right? You got 12 playoff years, 1 World Series loss. 4 World Series wins. Pretty good 25 years, by the way. That's better than the Yankees. You got 4 in the last 25. What do we have? 1. But Aaron Boone keeps his job because they go to the World Series, or they go to the playoffs every year. When the Red Sox have 4 times as many World Series as you, I'm sorry, I don't mean to belittle Red Sox. Again, if you look at the history of the two teams, when the Red Sox have 4 times as many World Series victories as you over a 25-year period, it's time to rethink what you've been doing for those 25 years. I may have said that once or twice. De Palma is a 20-year-old prospect in the Dodgers system, now blocked by Tucker. Look at his physique and numbers. Get this boy on a team. The Dodgers will probably hold on to him. Listen, Tucker's not a young guy. This guy's 20. By the time he's 24, Tucker will be done. I'm not sure where DePaul is playing right now, but unless he's ripping it up in AAA, you sit on him. Justin Tucker, sorry, Kyle Tucker. Listen, he started trending down already with the Cubs last year. Now maybe he bounces back with the Dodgers, but I don't think this is a great move for money-wise. For the team. Been a great century so far. You know how I felt the last century? You only got 20. What do you got? I don't remember how many World Series they had before they stopped winning World Series. Maybe 3 or maybe 4. Maybe you got 8. So you're only 19, you'll be ahead of us, assuming we don't win anymore. Guys, anyway, we talked a lot of WBC. We'll be talking more. We'll get more into the prediction mode here the next couple Fridays as I get myself acclimated and people get back to spring training and we get away from the WBC. DePaul is ripping it up. Dodgers don't get greedy and stunt his growth. Well, you know, teams have been known to do that before. If you don't have a place for them, they aren't going to give them away either. And what do they need? Dodgers are embarrassment of riches. Anyway, we'll be talking stuff. Yankees in Canada tonight, 8 o'clock. Fox, I believe. Logan Webb. Who's pitching for Canada tonight? I thought I had this. Who's pitching tonight? Not telling me? See if I can get it here. You're not going to give it to me there. So, here. Unlike the rest of Major League Baseball, I can't have these starters. Probable pitcher Michael Soroka tonight for Canada. So, hey, gonna be some fun in Houston. Thank you, Scott. Michael Soroka tonight for the Canadians. Down goes Canada 2 times to the U.S. in the last 19 days. We're happy to see that. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. You guys have a great, great weekend. Keith Engle for Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk MLB update, and we'll have some very fun. No, if the U.S. doesn't score 10 runs, it's an upset. All I care about is 1-0 win. That's all I care about. I don't have to embarrass guys, and there is no mercy rule, I don't think, any longer either. So. Fox Sports, Fox Movies. Why the hell would I go to Fox for news? Oh, God. Thanks. We'll see you guys. Great Friday, great Saturday. We'll see you, hopefully, Sunday morning with the U.S. moving on to the semifinals. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.